Hello, my name's Scott. I'm a professional magician and this is a magic review. It's a kind of magic. In today's review, we're looking at the highly anticipated Liquify by Tobias Dostal. Before we get into the TLDR of this, I think that it's important for me to say that I love Tobias's work. I think that he is, in my opinion, the Willy Wonka of magic. Everything that he creates is super fun. It gives you a real feeling of magic. And I don't think he's ever released a bad product, including Liquify. But there are some concerns as well. So to find out whether Liquify is for you and whether you should jump on the hype train, continue watching this review for the meat and bones and the real details of the pros and cons. My TLDR on Liquify is that it's a really good product. It's a really interesting product. It's relatively expensive, but only in terms of cost. It's not expensive in terms of what you receive with Liquify. I think that there's incredible value in everything that you receive for the price tag of £60–65. So in terms of that, I think it's really good. The only thing I would say to you is what you're buying is not a magic trick. I think you're buying a moment that's in between magic tricks. So bear that in mind, that it is fantastic, it's a brilliant visual, it's super magical, it's practical, it's well made, but it is not necessarily a magic trick in itself. It's a moment that is magical, that leads into a larger routine. A bridging piece of magic, if you will. That's my TLDR. Let's get into more details. What is it? Well, I think I would be very surprised if you don't know what it is at this point, with how much hype there has been behind this release, and rightfully so as well. So what it is, I'll put a little bit of footage up on screen. What it is you essentially take a small object and you can animate it in a way where it looks like it's turning into liquid. And you can do this with things like ketchup. You can do this with things like sweets or candy, if you're American. You can do it with hard objects like jewelry, and we'll come on to that a little bit later, potentially in the final thoughts. But that's what you're doing. You're creating something that liquefies, and then you are making it harden again and handing it out to someone. And I think the clue is in the name of the product there. So that's what Liquify is. What do you get with it though? You get these rings, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rings, and they're pretty good. They are solid. They're quite large so that you can do the animations, and you can, regardless of your hand size, whether you have small hands, big hands, thin fingers, fat fingers, you should be able to use these. So I think that that's really good. And then you also receive 8 different colored gimmicks, which I think is so good. The fact that Tobias has really thought about this over a period of years. This is what products should come with. They should come with options, and they should come with things that are exciting to use and to think about and get your creativity. So without going too far off track, you receive 8 different colored liquefied gimmicks, and then you receive 5 of these rings. In addition, you receive a link that takes you to video instructions that are downloadable. The first video, the part 1, is roughly an hour and a half long. The second part is, I think, about 45 minutes. And basically, Tobias just talks you through every single idea and effect that he's come up with. Maybe not all of them, but all of the good ones that he sees potential in, that he wanted to share on the project. So there's no real structure to the instructions. He just goes through one after another ideas and potential routines, and each one of them has a slightly different handling. Each one of them has a slightly different feeling. So the instructions are really thorough. They're really well done, as you would expect from Murphy's Magic Supplies and Tobias. They are both quality producers. How easy is it? Now here's where I think things start to get a little bit tricky in reviewing a product and giving you an honest idea of what you're going to receive. I don't think this is an easy trick to perform. I think that it's simple. I think the handling is relatively simple, and some handlings are more simple than others, depending on what routine you want to perform. But I do think that liquefying visual is quite difficult to actually get to look authentic. And it is going to take some practice. I've seen some people receive this product, do videos straight away on social media, and it looks so bad. And it really ruins the illusion of the liquefying of the object. So in my opinion, this is a really simple method that uses some classic thimble sleights and moves, but and they're not too difficult, but the really difficult thing with Liquify is spending the time and getting it looking real and authentic. And Tobias does give you some tips throughout the instructions on this, but I've already seen way too many people rushing into it, not giving it the time it deserves, and it looks bad, and they're ruining the illusion of it. So please don't do that. Give it time. Yes, it's simple to perform, but that doesn't mean that you can just go out and perform it straight away. It's not always good being the first horse to the race. So while the handling and the method is simple, and there are more simple methods and more difficult methods, I think that it's not actually as easy to perform well as some people are making out. And it is going to require a certain amount of practice in the mirror, mimicking the liquefied motion. And that is not an illusion that you want to break, because then it becomes a stupid toy or routine that is no longer magical and no longer gives the spectator the feeling that they should have. Reset time is fantastic. Many of the ideas, routines, and everything are reset straight away. So there's nothing to do. You go into your pocket, you grab a ring, or if you grab a ring off of your finger, or however you want to do it, then I think that usually in most situations you will be instantly reset, which is fantastic. There's nothing much more to say on reset. There's a little bit of prep for some of the routines and some of the ideas that Tobias teaches, but overall, most of the routines will leave you instantly reset. Angles on this are not so great, and you're going to have to judge that for every performance and every situation, depending on how many people you have around you. You can perform it potentially surrounded, but you would have to really block off some people from certain angles. So I would say that the best possible situation to perform this is with people directly in front of you, but you can perform it with people around as well. It's just that you're going to have to change and be dynamic in the way that you present the liquefying of it. And depending on whether you have a lot of people around you, you will have to cover. So there are routines, as I'm sure you've seen, where you place a ring or you place something on someone else's hand and then you put a wall up on the hand. And that gives you pretty good cover from most angles. So I think that some routines you want to be performing face on to people. Some routines do work 360 degrees, and you will have to have a play around with this and figure out which one you like the most and which one's most applicable to your performing situations. But there's a wide range of possibilities when it comes to the angles for Liquify. Pocket space is fantastic. All you have to do is have either a piece of jewelry, which it doesn't have to be these rings that are supplied, by the way. You can use anyone's jewelry if you're going to go down the route of a ring. It just has to match roughly the color of the Liquify gimmicks. So that is a brilliant thing. But in terms of pocket space, you either need something small, a ketchup packet, a ring, a die. It can be like almost anything. One of the other nice ideas that Tobias shares in the instructions is a little bouncy ball. So the pocket space on this is really good, and really you can have multiple things in your pocket as well as this. So I think pocket space, you couldn't really ask for a better situation for the magical experience that the spectators are getting from Liquify. And my final thoughts on this. So my final thoughts are, a lot of people are asking about the Liquify gimmicks. They are somewhat soft, but they are not super flexible. So they are quite rigid. I'm going to try to show you now, and hopefully you will get an idea. So we have the gold ring here, and then you massage it and you massage it, and ooh, a little bit more, ooh. And then you massage it back to a ring. So as you can see, the gimmick is roughly this long, and the tip of it is a little bit flexible. And I think they're made of silicone, so they're a little bit tacky. That you can thumb palm them, and you can do thimble moves with them fairly easily. And they're going to last a really long time. So that's some information about the gimmicks. Hopefully I've answered the questions that I can there without completely just showing you all of the gimmicks. But if you do have any questions in particular, do leave it in a comment below. I think that's roughly everything I have to say about this. I love the product. I think that, you know, Tobias still is yet to release a bad product. You know, I still own and use optics. Stay Cool, I think it was, with the sunglasses was a really fun effect. And as I said at the beginning of this review, Tobias for me is the Willy Wonka of magic. He takes such fun ideas and brings them to life in such interesting ways. So I would say that be careful about buying this if you're buying it to perform it as a trick, because it's not a trick as such. As I say, it's more of a moment that you're creating. And also I think that this is a really important thing to point out, that the simplicity of this, don't underestimate how simple it is, and use this as a learning experience to look at the other magic tricks that you perform. Things don't have to be complicated. Magicians often overcomplicate things, but look how simple this is. The idea is simple. Yes, it's a very complicated thing to create and to reiterate new editions of it, to finally end up at this perfect product or near perfect product. But the idea is simple. So when you're going out exploring your magic, when you're learning new things, put the time in to simplify things. At least simplify things before you start to make things complicated and add things. You know, remove everything you can to think about really what's the point of this trick. So that is just a little bit of rambling piece of advice, I guess, of my thoughts. But yes, I hope that that's covered everything in Liquify by Tobias Dostal. I highly recommend it, but don't think that you're going to get some amazing new magic trick. It's good. It's easy to break the illusion. You will have to practice it. It's not quite as simple and easy as people are making out. And it is really amazing when you perform it really well. That's everything for this review. If you like this review or you found it useful, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll leave a little link up here for my review of Optics by Tobias Dostal, and you can have a look at that. It's one of my old reviews, so it doesn't look as good quality as these newer reviews, but it's worth exploring. And until next time, enjoy yourself, have fun if you buy Liquify, and I'll see you in the next review.